So at Salesforce, we've also been talking a lot about our culture. It's a big topic. As you get to be a larger company, it's very important to reflect on your culture and make sure, we're a high-growth company. We're hiring a lot of employees. We want to make sure they understand who we are. And so I want to take a moment and just talk about the values that we share at Salesforce. Number one is trust. I was born at Salesforce with the model of trust because we said to companies, please trust us to run your business systems for you. And so that was an extended relationship where you had to trust me to secure your data, to make sure the data centers are available, to make sure the functionality would work, to make sure we would give you the features that you needed. So trust was number one. Growth, obviously, we're a high-growth company. We want to remain a high-growth company. We're doing that with you, so growth remains super important. Innovation, near and dear to my heart. That's what makes me tick in the morning, and I get it to work. And I talk to some amazing developers and engineers, and we talk about where the world is going. And I love it. I love being part of this journey that we're all on. And so innovation is key. But I want to hit a little harder on the final value, and that's on equality. And equality is something that has been super important at Salesforce. It's been very important to me personally. One of the things that I find in technology, in particular, is that there are not enough women in technology. There's a number of reasons for that, but at Salesforce, we're really working to change that. We're working on recruiting. We want to find more women in the workplace. We're educating more young girls on technology to create more technologists that are female. And I'm also personally engaged with a lot of executives, female executives. Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is really important. And I'm also, not just recruiting women, but I want more women to rise within Salesforce. And we're doing that by really committing to leadership development and mentoring and training, spending a lot of time with them to have them kind of come up in the ranks. Actually, one of the women, Lynn Zelodanis, is in the program with me right now, and you're going to hear from her later. Melissa Boyle, another very strong leader. So our two presenters are great examples of exactly what I'm talking about. So equality is also super, super important to Salesforce. These are our values. But we've been on a journey, and as I said, around innovation, been on this journey through all of these things that have been happening in the world. And when we started, we said, wow, the cloud computing, that's kind of cool. Maybe we could actually deliver software in a different way. Instead of shipping it, let's provide it as a service. And that was cloud. Before cloud, we had mainframes and client server, and the number of computers kept growing exponentially. But Salesforce wasn't just born with this one big thing that happened, which was cloud computing. We were faced with a number of revolutions. We still are, and that's what's so much fun. Mobility came along. I'm sure many of you or all of you have a smartphone in your pocket. 17 years ago, you probably didn't. Or maybe you had a BlackBerry and you're reading your email, but you didn't have a full computer in your pocket, and that's changed everything. People are doing business from their phone. Social computing. Facebook changed the game, and all of a sudden, everything was social, and we brought social into the world of enterprise computing. And we're going into these new worlds of data science and IoT. All of this data that's happening and all of the data science that's possible, you hear it every day, that everything is getting smarter. And we're just at the beginning of that journey. And that's what we're doing at Salesforce, is we're creating that path and following where the technology is going, creating the technology, and it's so much fun. And so now I want to give you 4 stories, 4 companies that are really entering that age of the company, taking advantage of all of these trends. Really amazing stories. The first one is Intuit. How many of you paid your taxes? I hope you guys paid your taxes, by now. Wasn't that fun? Wasn't that awesome? Well, Intuit, tax season's a big deal, right? And 11 million people actually filed their tax returns on their phone, believe it or not, with Intuit. I know that sounds crazy. And they did that with Intuit because Intuit knew that if they had a problem on the phone, they could actually help them right there. They could help them by having a customer service agent just pop on there, just like if you're using the Amazon Fire and you click on the Get Help button, same kind of idea. all of a sudden the customer service agent's right there with you, and they're delivering that amazing relationship, connecting to their customers in a completely new way. It's like very surprising. You're on your phone, like, whoa, there's the customer service person. Like, wow, that's crazy. Where'd you come from? But all of a sudden they're getting that help. They're filing their tax return. And the weird thing is they all of a sudden feel like, wow, that was kind of a fun experience in a weird way. And so they got so excited into it that they actually created a commercial. And so let's roll that film right now.
Amy thinks you have to be super smart to not mess up your tax refund. So we flew in super smart mathematician Maria Chudnovsky to help her.
I have a lot of student loan debt. Can I deduct my interest?
Can Amy deduct her student loan interest?
In her case, yes. The amount goes right here.
In your case, yes. The amount goes right here.
Thanks.
Intuit TurboTax. Taxes done smarter.
I love that commercial. So Intuit's connecting with their customers in a whole new way. Another company, Unilever, one of the biggest advertisers in the world, is running their business from their phone because their products are not at their headquarters. Where they do business is in the retailers, in the stores. Their consumer packaged goods are everywhere. And so when they need to make decisions, when they need to connect with their customer and understand, is there a problem with a product? Is the stocking shelf full? Is the placement right? They can actually do that from the point where it's happening. They can do that from their watch, from their phone, from their tablet. They can connect with the customer, with the products, back to headquarters, back to shipping, connecting everyone together because they're running their business from their phone. They're running it in a mobile way. So that's pretty cool, too. Now, another company, Optum, is doing something completely different. They're creating one-to-one relationships about childbirth. Now, in the process of building Salesforce, I also built a family. Very proud of that. And I had twins in 2000. They're actually twin golden dragons. Gives me a lot of good luck. If anyone's Chinese here, I get 80 years of good luck along with my wife. But when we got the news that we were having twins, nobody telegraphed us and said, okay, now you're going to have twins. We went and had an ultrasound just to make sure everything was okay, And the technician kept going, and we're like, ooh, something wrong, kept going. And then she looked at us, and she said, you're having twins. And I'm like, oh, my God. I actually started laughing. My wife started crying because it was like, oh, this is just crazy. It was overwhelming. What Optum is doing is they're creating a relationship with each family. And so if I had had Optum at the time, I should have, they would have had a relationship with me, and they would have realized, okay, wow, that's a big moment. They would have started communicating with me. They would have, given me information. So 6 months into it, they would probably have sent me books on twins, because that's a little different, and how to deal with twins. Twins might be delivered early, et cetera, et cetera. And they would have really walked my wife and I through that journey and through that relationship. They would have been there right with us. And then when the babies arrived, not one but two, they would have given me a very customized care package, and customized because it was two, so I wouldn't have had one balloon or one basket. We would have had two baskets, and they would have known that because they would be on a one-to-one journey with me. And so that's what we mean by one-to-one journeys. And Optum is doing an amazing job of that. Now, the other thing that is really amazing is the amount of data that's being created. We talk about phones, we talk about watches. You saw that slide of going from mainframe to client server to cloud computing to the Internet of Things. The Internet of Things is giving off all these signals. Uber's doing just that because there are signals coming off of the mobile app that the rider uses, the mobile app that the driver uses, the car. Everything's giving off these signals. And Uber's taking those signals and doing some really cool things. They're getting smarter with that data. And it's a lot of data, by the way. 90% of the world's data was created in the last year. Uber's using that data. If you've ever taken Uber, you expect it to arrive right away. It just happens. It's magic. How do they do that? Sometimes it gets really busy. Probably coming here this morning, everybody coming this way, maybe it was a little bit more busy. You might have seen surge pricing. And you go, oh, man, why are they charging me more? That's not fair. They're already making a lot of money. Why do they have to charge more? They're using data science to actually figure out how to get more drivers on the road. Those drivers don't work for Uber. And so how do you get more drivers on the road? You pay them more money. the drivers, in a way, are Uber's customers, ironically enough. And so they have to take care of them. So you're using data because they don't want to overcharge you. They want to make sure you're happy, but they also have to get those drivers in. So they've got to have a delicate balance, leveraging that data so that you have amazing service, so that you get the Uber cab right away, every time, and maybe you pay a little bit more sometimes, but that's okay. So these 4 stories are great examples of companies that are transforming their relationships with their customers. And customers are expecting that. They're saying, well, there must be an app for that. There must be a way for me to connect with this company for my service or my goods. But not every company does that. And here in DC, there's also a lot of government agencies. So it's not just customers, it's citizens. We're all citizens. And governments need to connect also with the citizens in the same exact way. But in the government, it's often not the case that there's an app for that. In the government, often there's a forum for that, or there's 2 forums, there's 3 forums, or 10 forums. And wouldn't it be great if there weren't the forums and there were actually apps where you could actually connect? And so you wouldn't have 72% dissatisfaction with that relationship. You wouldn't have that disconnect. You would actually bring them together. You create better governments, better relationships, better experiences. And that's really what we're about at Salesforce. And that's what we've been working on for 17 years, and I'm going to keep working on it. It keeps getting better every day because we've built what we call a customer success platform. And that customer success platform is allowing companies and governments to do all of these things, to connect with their customers in a whole new way, to run their business from the phone, to have those one-to-one relationships, and to leverage all of that data to be smarter. And so there's a company here, or actually an agency, because I always like to go back from talking about Salesforce and talking about us. We're very customer-centric. That's how we build our service. That's how we grow. And so I have David Shive here with the GSA. David, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So as I said, I've been in DC a long time with Salesforce, working with agencies, and the GSA was one of the first. And I really just want to thank you first for the relationship and the business. Tell us a little bit, probably most people in the audience who are from DC know exactly what the GSA is, but for those who don't, give us a little background. What is the GSA? What's your purpose?
All right, so I'm going to start by thanking our customers. So those of you who raised your hand when you said you paid your taxes, thank you. You are the federal government's end customer. And yes, we do have an app for that. So GSA, our job is to serve the rest of the federal government. We take the busy work that they do, and we try to do it for them so they can focus on their agency mission specifically. The 3 ways that we do that is we are the largest tenant in the federal government. We have an inventory of 8,800 buildings all across the United States, and actually outside of the United States as well. So we provide rental services, property management services, all that super sexy stuff that you think about the government. We do that. We are also the purchasing agents of the federal government through our Federal Acquisition Service. We purchase everything from pens and pencils to satellite parts and pieces and everything in between. Through the acquisition service, we also have the 2nd largest fleet of vehicles in the federal government. And many of the tools in Salesforce help us properly manage that infrastructure. And then 3rd is we're technology providers for the federal government. We purchase and procure technology for our federal government partners. We also provide through innovative technology mediums like digital services technology to the federal government.
That's great. So just a few things.
Yeah, just a few things.
So,
yes.
so you mentioned using Salesforce. So how are we working with you to help solve some of those problems? Because you've got a lot to keep track of.
Right. So I'll start with a little bit of our history and our story. Like most federal agencies, we use a lot of technology to support our mission. In this case, we had about 1,800 applications supporting the back office workflow, customer resource management type functions within GSA. One of the first things that the Salesforce GSA partnership allowed us to do was to rationalize those applications down to about 100 applications. We were able to weave out duplicate applications, duplicate processes onto a standardized platform. And so thank you for that partnership. We were able to take our entire entire user population and turn them to be customer focused. They all started using this platform, so we had a single unified view of what a customer was. If our customer was DoD, or if it was transportation, or it was energy, we know who they are, where they are, what the purchasing patterns are, when they need to make purchases. We know when they need to buy cars. We know when their leases are up in buildings.
Right.
So we view a customer as a single entity and follow them through their life cycle, and then try to predict what their needs are ahead of time. So that's one of the main reasons we do that.
So you're done. You don't really need to do your job, right?
So just because you have a mature implementation of something like Salesforce doesn't mean you're ever done.
Okay, so what's next?
That's a good question. So we're pretty good at knowing who our customers are and serving them, but we're always looking for ways to do better. We're always looking for ways to drive down the cost of serving our customers and to better anticipate what their needs are. So GSA is putting a lot of horsepower and spending a lot of cycles on being a data-driven organization.
Oh, great. So maybe we could work with you on when I talked about data science and IoT, maybe there's some ways that we could work with you.
Absolutely. You know, IoT is a perfect example. We have 3.1 million data elements hitting us every single day about our public buildings, and we use that to inform the decisions that we make on how we run our buildings, and Salesforce is a big part of that. It's a big part of our decision sciences. It's a big part of our decision science ecosystem that we're building. When you have a single platform that allows you to secure your data and effectively exploit that data to its maximum ability, then we're able to do more with less.
Wow. So in many ways, you're a very mature customer and very sophisticated. Not everyone in the room is as sophisticated as you are. Do you have any advice for people in the room?
Yeah, so this is a shout out to the technologists in the room. The work of transforming from an old legacy platform or a variety of legacy platforms into a new modernized cloud-based platform. I don't want to minimize the work that technologists do, but that hard work has been solved. The risk has been meted out of that. The real risk for implementing something like Salesforce is organizational change management.
Yeah.
Getting your business customers to adopt the technology, and more importantly, adopt the entire ecosystem, including the thought that drives you to centralizing on a secure platform. So for those who interact with your businesses, keep it up. For those who don't interact with your businesses, and listen very carefully to what they need and how you're going to deliver that using technology to deliver that, start investing some time there.
That's awesome. And I think that's why it's not just about technology. That's why we have our customer success group. That's why we have our partners. That's why we have our MVPs, and that's why we have you. So thank you, David, for being up here. Appreciate it.